So, whenever you go to set up a game, you can either set it up as a listen server, in which case other people can join, or you can password protect it or whatnot, or you can set it up as a solo play or slash LAN. So that's what I'm going to do in this case. I'm going to just leave it on easy because while this game may seem pretty easy whenever I first start playing it, you're going to find that it can ramp up pretty quickly, even on easy, especially when you're playing by yourself. So I'm gonna kind of leave it there and hope for the best. But so we got these different game modes. We got escape, which is basically like your cooperative survival. It's probably like the most Left 4 Dead-ish of the modes that are in the game. Um, it does a lot of similar things to Left 4 Dead in that there's like little variations in the level design such that each time you play through the level, there are certain pathways that might be opened or closed, or there's certain objectives that might change slightly. So it gives it a little bit of replayability. Um, Maybe not as much as I would like or would hope for, or I feel like they could have taken it maybe a bit further than they did, but it is nice to be able to replay a level and not know for sure exactly how it's going to go every time. I definitely appreciate that aspect of it. And then you get this extraction mode, which is basically like running around and rescuing people from zombies and then kind of guiding those NPCs or those AIs to safety. And you just basically keep doing that until you can't do it anymore. Um, it's it's okay. I've played it a few times. It can be kind of fun, but it's also a little bit hectic. And because there's no real like major overarching objective to it, I kind of feel like so it just doesn't have the depth that I'm looking for in a typical game mode. So I kind of can't necessarily recommend the game strictly on the strength of that particular mode. But it's nice that it's in there. It's nice as an alternative and something to do that's different from the extraction mode or the escape mode. So that's cool. You've got the hunted mode, which is your standard PvP, kind of like survival games, battle royale slash mode, where basically everybody spawns in and scavenges stuff and tries to stay alive, and it's basically last man standing wins kind of format. You got the panic mode, which is basically like the versus mode in Left 4 Dead, where it's zombies versus humans. But in this objective mode, you notice you only play um, with player zombies. So I guess that's like sort of if you wanted to play against the AIs controlling the humans, but you just want to play zombie all the time, that's this mode. And then there's like the Panic Classic where you have humans controlling both the zombies and the humans. Um, so basically those are your modes, and you can see like as I'm flipping through them, like each mode has a bunch of, or at least a couple of maps available to it. I think the only mode that only has one map is this panic objective mode, and I think that's probably because it was the most recently added mode, if I recall correctly. So they've only done one map that actually supports that playing as zombies exclusively mode. But the rest of these have at least a couple for them. Some of them are a little better than others. Like the escape mode seems like it has a lot of levels, and it definitely has more than it did whenever I first started playing the game. Um, but like for example, there's this mode or this level which is basically like a test level. Uh, it's kind of they call it a developer tutorial. So I guess it's basically for people who want to do levels in Steam Workshop. This is basically a level to give them an idea of how to do them. So it's not really like a full elaborate level like some of these other ones are. And this is, of course, the Roanoke PD level, which is the one that originally shipped with the game, which is the one that most people have seen and played. If you got on this game whenever it was first released under early access, this is probably what you've seen of it. So we're not going to play that level. We're actually going to play this biotech level because I kind of like the way that it's laid out, and it's very different from the Roanoke level, and I think it'll be a good showcase for some of the stuff that's changed in the game, um, and that's kind of the main reason I wanted to even show it off today is because it is pretty different from the last time that I played it in a lot of kind of meaningful ways. So, looking at the server options, this is where you would go in and name your server and give it a password and decide whether or not you want players to be able to be infected and whether or not you want them to be able to come back as zombies and screw with the players who haven't been turned into zombies yet. So that gives you some options in terms of how you can set up your server and how, hostile you want it to be. Um, yeah, so let's go ahead and jump in here. So right off the bat, since the last time I played this game, I think some of the things that I'm most impressed with in it are improvements that they've made to the lighting in a lot of areas. I feel like the lighting overall in the game has kind of been bumped up a notch or two, uh, and I haven't really gone back and played the original Roanoke level to see if that one has been improved, but I know like at least in these new levels, it feels like everything's a bit like sharper and nicer and like cleaner and just more refined than it was previously. I'll go ahead and take the drunk cop because, well, who else do you want in a zombie apocalypse but a drunk cop? All right. So you can see there's like a lot of like lighting diffusion and color diffusion stuff and like the whole like uh, I don't even know what you'd call this look. It's like almost like a vignetting kind of look around the edge of the screen and stuff like that. Like it definitely gives it like a more cinematic kind of look and feel to what it had previously. Um, Now there are still like some truths to the way that Contagion handles its gameplay, which I've always appreciated. One being that it has a very like slow, methodical, kind of measured pacing to it. So you can see like this is my normal walking pace, right? So you can even like look down and see my legs go in there. Like your normal movement pace is actually pretty slow, and you're just kind of like making your way slowly through the game world. Um, in a very like careful, measured way, which I kind of feel like is very believable and kind of how you would want to approach a situation like this in reality. And then of course, if you want to sprint, you can kind of get your sprint on and get moving for a bit. But you're only going to be able to do that for so long before your character is going to get winded. And you'll hear like my guy kind of huffing and puffing there. And you can kind of like keep your sprint going for a little bit when you're winded. Like it'll kind of pop on and off as you're going, but once you really get to that point of exhaustion, like you see, like you'll have to take a few regular steps, and then it'll let you sprint again for a little bit, and you can really get to a point where you're just completely exhausted, and you can see that green bar up in the upper left is basically your stamina. Now if I let off the sprint, my guy will kind of heave for a little bit there and get his breath back and then kind of go back to normal. But that's definitely something you need to keep track of, especially when the zombies start really popping up, because they are pretty much as fast as you are in terms of normal walking speed. Some of them are actually a little faster than you. Most of them are a little slower or about the same. So, so like you can see this guy moving in on me. And the thing about this game is headshots are king. You want to conserve as much of your ammo as possible because you will get into situations where you don't have a ton, and you want to make sure that every one of your shots counts, so that you have enough rounds to be able to deal with the infected, because there are melee weapons in the game and they're reasonably effective, but the thing is, as soon as you start letting these zombies get into melee range, you run the risk of them damaging you or possibly infecting you, in which case you could be in serious trouble. So you really want to try to make these headshots count and make every bullet a kill. Um, Now, having said that, one of the kind of gripes I have always had about this game, and it's really still the case here in this newest version, is uh, headshots don't always work. especially when you're shooting with pistols. I find that sometimes you can line the shot up basically perfectly, and the shot just will ricochet off their head or not quite connect the way it seems like it should, especially when you get like beyond like the 5-6 foot range. So what I tend to like to do is to let them get as close as I feel comfortable and then pop them, because if you try to shoot them from too much distance with the pistol, it's like almost like a 50-50 or worse shot as to whether the headshot will actually register. Now, those of you who are familiar with guns in real life might say that's a fairly reasonable assessment of pistol accuracy at distance. I mean, obviously, I shouldn't be able to headshot a guy from across this courtyard with a pistol in reality, but I feel like the way it's tuned in the game maybe makes the pistol accuracy a little less than it probably should be. Um, but your mileage may vary. I know a lot of people think this game is really well tuned in terms of its ballistics, and I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that. But there are instances where sometimes you go to shoot a zombie who's relatively close to you, and the headshot just doesn't register. So one thing that I really like about this game is the zombies aren't necessarily always immediately aware of you. You see, like, there's this one kind of zoning out over here, and like he's finally gotten wind of me and sees me, and if I turn on this light, he'll probably react to me at least a little bit. But they don't necessarily just come at you, uh, at least as a general rule. Um, what tends to happen is they'll hear a noise like that gunshot and then be attracted to that noise, and kind of the more noise they hear and the more like howling that the other zombies make and stuff, it kind of like builds to this crescendo where they all kind of get worked up into a frenzy from hearing all this noise and all this stimulation. So the more you fire, and this is another reason why making your shots count is important, the more you fire, the more you tend to attract them. So like you see
You're not too old for some good old whipping.
There was an example where maybe that shot didn't connect the way I thought it should, and I had to actually fire twice. I really don't like being in this corner, I can tell you that for nothing. Especially with them kind of coming from both directions. So you probably noticed that my guy there actually had a little voice dialogue. That's actually something that's new to the game as far as I can recall. It seems like each character has a few lines of dialogue that they'll spout, like especially when they're shooting a bunch of zombies. They'll have like little one-liners or quips or whatever. And for the most part, I think they seem to work. I mean, they're not necessarily the greatest. I think they did a pretty good job of getting voice actors that sound kind of like how I think they should sound based on the way the characters look. Like this guy kind of sounds like, grizzled old cop dude, maybe a little bit full of himself. Uh, and then I guess that kind of makes sense. Um, but it's, like the voiceover, I don't know that it really adds that much to the game. I guess it's a little bit more realistic in the sense that in a situation like this, it may not make sense for somebody to just run around being completely silent while they're doing something like this. Um, but that's, some people might like it, some people might not. I think it works. I think it's fine. I don't think it hurts anything that it's there. And if anything, like I say, it does make a little more sense that your character wouldn't be necessarily running around here completely mute. So another kind of key mechanic to this game, at least in the escape mode, is the cell phone interface. And let me just make sure I'm not going to get munched from behind while I show you guys this. But basically, you can hit the B key at any time, and it'll bring up this phone and kind of remind you of what your objective is. And kind of as you move through the level, you will um, get updates on your phone. So actually hear like the phone vibrate or ping, like you got like a text message or whatever, and that will let you know that there's a new objective to look at. And mostly it's just based on you getting to certain parts of the level and kind of realizing that there's a thing you need to do to be able to progress, and the phone is just kind of there to remind you of that and make sure that you're aware that there actually is something you need to do to move forward in the game. I definitely appreciate being given a default weapon with a light source on it, uh, especially given how dark and scary some of the places in this level are. So let's see. Definitely want to check all these cubicles for any potentially useful items. Nothing there really. Oh, it's a little ammo there. So you notice when I look at that item, it actually kind of highlights it and lets you know that that is an interactable. And so that's, I think, some bullets, but for a gun that I don't actually have. The good thing is, though, that you can basically carry as much ammo as you want, but you can only actually carry 4 objects at a time, and that counts weapons and um, utility items. So there are things like bolt cutters and wrenches and stuff like that, and they count for one of your 4 items, even though that they are not a weapon. So you kind of have to pick and choose what you're going to carry moment to moment in the game based on what your objective is and what you're trying to do. But they do have some neat mechanics that I really appreciate in the game, such as like when you pick up a weapon, you can actually unload it because sometimes you've got ammo types that are usable in multiple weapons. So you can like pick up a gun, take whatever ammo's in it out of it, and then drop that gun and use that ammo in a gun that you already have, which is handy and kind of neat. I just want to check the floors in all these cubicles, especially since I ammo in that other one. So make sure there's no like zombie office workers in here busting up my groove. But one area where I really feel like this game works and has always kind of worked and been really cool is the sense of kind of tension that it builds. Like you'll go through these areas where there really aren't any enemies. It's kind of lulling you into this like false sense of security. Like, oh, I'm just kind of going around here looting this environment, and I'm totally, safe and comfortable. And then all of a sudden, when the zombies do show back up again, it has more of an impact than if there was just zombies all of the time, everywhere. And I think they do a really good job of establishing that tension and giving you that downtime that you need so that when something does happen, it's way more impactful. So here's a difference already in the last time I played this level that I can point out and kind of illustrate how the random elements in the game kind of work. So in my last playthrough of this, I got an objective to open this door. So I had to go find keys in the other part of this level to be able to come and unlock this door. Uh, and now that's not the case this time. So I'm going to have to go back and explore other parts of the level and see what my objective actually is, because it's not what it was last time, which is kind of neat. I think I managed to pull quite a few zombies from other parts of the level in that initial gunfire. So this area is relatively clear at the moment, which is good. But you can't ever completely let your guard down, especially coming around corners and stuff. I feel like the game has a tendency and is pretty good about creating those moments, where you come around a corner and all of a sudden there's zombies and you're like, oh, I need to deal with that. All right, so when we came up near this door, we got an objective update on our phone. Oop, those guys sound wound up. Let me just kind of go over here and put my back to this wall while I see what's going on here. Let's see, so there's a blue key card scanner next to this. Okay. We'll need a blue key card to get through. Okay, cool. Alright, so I've not done this before. I have no idea where the key card is, but I know from past experience in this game, it will probably be in some random location somewhere. So there's going to be no guarantee necessarily of where it actually is. Let's just check the little like guard security desk area here first though, because that seems like something that could likely have what we're looking for. And that's definitely one thing about this game that I appreciate is, for the most part, I feel like they try to put stuff where like you feel it would make sense for it to be in reality. Oh man, you guys are just not happy, are you? Let me end your misery. Oh man, that was a terrible shot. Terrible. That was absolutely terrible. I deserved to get hit there. I really did. Ah, man. They put these little extra tweaks into the zombie animations that make it really difficult sometimes to line those shots up. Like even when they're real close like that, you're not always necessarily gonna get the shot off unless you really get a good sense of what the animation is gonna do. But they do a good job of mixing it up on a lot of those zombies where they're just so tweaky and twitchy that it's hard to know like what move they're gonna make next. Okay, so I don't think I saw that card there at the guard station. That might have been a little too easy. I'm thinking it's probably down here, down this other hallway we haven't explored yet. Let's just go ahead and check these other rooms. This looks like just a non-functioning elevator. No items on the ground or anything. Let's go ahead and check the bathrooms. They're a surprisingly good source of weapons and ammo sometimes. One thing I definitely noticed in this newer build of the game is it feels like the reflections, like the mirrors and all that stuff seem to be, I don't know, like sharper, like they did something to the way their reflective surfaces work that seems a lot more, it just pops a little more than it used to, which I think is kind of nice. I definitely noticed that. I can't put my finger on exactly what they did, but I definitely noticed some kind of difference there. Alright, let's go ahead and check this other bathroom out. Got a little bit of ammo out of that one. Okay, here we got a melee weapon. That's pretty alright. So they've actually updated the melee system a bit since the last time I played, which is kind of cool. So now you can left click for an overhead swing or right click for a kind of swipe, but you can also click and hold to charge up the swing on each mouse button. So you have basically like a light overhead, a heavy overhead, a light swing, and a heavy swing based off your two mouse buttons and whether or not you hold them. And I feel like that's got a good feel to it. Like taking out some zombies with a melee weapon in my last playthrough, it felt pretty satisfying and pretty good. The only real drawback is, you know, if the melee weapon is short, you're going to have to get right up on the zombie, which means you're probably going to take some damage unless you're really, really careful about how you approach that and time the attack and whatnot. Oh, hey, buddy. Let's see. Oop. Yeah, I mistimed that a little and took a little hit from it. Nothing too bad, though. Nothing too brutal. Oh, look at this. Man, the cook is packing heat. Well, let's go ahead and grab that. We've actually got a bit of extra ammo for this. Now, you might be tempted when you pick up a weapon like this in this game to just use it. But I find that weapons like this you really want to save for a special occasion. Like when you have to deal with a horde, or you've got a zombie that's got a helmet on, or something where like a regular pistol headshot just isn't going to get the job done. Um, so I'm definitely going to hang on to this bad boy and save it for when I really need it. But it's definitely nice to have that much ammo. Oh, nice. That's nice and gruesome. Yeah, good job, game. It freaked me out. Um, So that's I like stuff like this in games where like you can almost like imagine there was like a little story here, right? Where like, you know, this guy went zombie and his coworkers were like, screw that, and just stabbed him in the head and stuck him in the meat freezer or something. Like you come across stuff in this game where you're like, it's almost like it's building its own little like narrative just based on, elements in the level design and such, which I definitely think is cool and like a cool way to approach that sort of thing. Like, I feel like narrative in games sometimes is way too heavy-handed, where it's like I'm gonna explicitly tell you everything about what story I'm trying to tell, whereas like sometimes it's just little subtle details like that are enough, to make you feel like you're part of something that's going on in the level. So definitely appreciate that. Ah, so there's the key card. But you see how random that was? Like I could have easily just walked right past that, which is why I had to, really pay attention and look that over. Now, that could have been anywhere, I'm guessing. Like that could have been on any one of these surfaces in this room or in a completely different room. And that's the kind of cool thing about the random elements in this game. You just never quite know where stuff's gonna be, playthrough to playthrough. And they've done a really good job of like, giving you so many places to look for stuff that you really have to take your time and examine things. Because, if you miss a bunch of ammo or something like that, you're, I think those zombies saw me. So this will be a good example of how the door mechanics work. So they will actually eventually break these doors down from pounding on them, and you can see like the dents and stuff forming in them, which is really cool. And actually, a mechanical difference from the last times I played this game. See how they actually took the door off the hinges? Now, they're not exactly the smartest guys in the world because they've already taken out that one door and they could easily just walk in here. But, they're zombies. We kind of expect that level of intellectual sophistication from them, right? But, you know, taking the door off the hinges is a nice new effect, and it kind of makes sense in a lot of these cases, like more so than actually like completely demolishing this door to the point where they could walk through it. I think especially on these metal doors, I like that mechanic where they're beating it off the hinges to the point where like the screws fail, more so than actually getting through the metal door. I think that's a cool way to handle that, and again, kind of keeping it more towards the realism aspect of things, to the degree that they can. Um, I definitely appreciate that. So last time I played, there were some bullets over on this thing. Not this time though. But that's the thing, you always gotta just look and see. You just never know where something's gonna be tucked away. So like there's another good example, right? Like just there's stuff everywhere. Alright, so that's that. So this is just basically like a little side area. Didn't really help us except for finding that. I think that was a little bit of ammo or matches or something. I'm not actually sure what that even was. Ooh, baby. That was good, game. That was real good. You got me good with that one. I mean, fortunately the zombie was a little out of it himself, so he didn't just immediately charge me. But if he had, he probably would have got a hit in on me because he kind of snuck me there. I think I kind of want to go check out this cafeteria area. Oh, I'm also kind of running low on pistol bullets, so perhaps I should sledgehammer it up, at least until I go unlock that blue door. Let's see if we can find some more bullets here. Sometimes there's some on these counters in the cafeteria. But I feel like that's one aspect that this game does really well is the whole scavenging bit and looking around for stuff. Like if you like that aspect from games like DayZ and 7 Days or H1Z1 and stuff like that, like that aspect is really well represented here. Like you're just combing these environments looking for anything that might be useful to you. You're not it's not quite as sophisticated as in those sandbox games because you're not necessarily worried about food and water and stuff like that. But there are, like I say, utility items. Like sometimes you need to find bolt cutters to cut a chain that's chaining up a door, or you might need to find a med kit to heal yourself if you've taken some damage. Like there's things in addition to like weapons and ammo that you can find as you're searching these areas. Okay, I thought that might be something, but apparently not. Usually they're pretty good about having things that you can actually take light up. Um, I don't think I've ever seen an example of an item that was interactable that didn't light up in that orange highlight whenever you looked at it. So I've kind of been trained to just look for that color to see whether or not an item is actually useful or interactable. Alright. So this was kind of a bust. There was really nothing interesting in here or useful, but that's okay. It didn't really hurt us to come in here and look around. I think between getting our key card and getting that assault rifle and this sledgehammer, this was a pretty good excursion into this section of the level. Alright, so there's definitely some hot zombie action going on around this corner. Let's see if this is going to automatically work. No, it looks like I need to interact with this card swipe, which means I probably need to actually have the key card out. That's usually how that works. There we go. Again, a nice little realism touch there. I definitely appreciate stuff like that. Okay, so we got a Z down there. No obvious Z. Oh, yeah, no, there's some action over here. All right. Well, I feel like behind me should be pretty clear. Man, that guy is really just booking. All right, let's see if I can get this timing right. Yeah, that was pretty good. That was definitely an example of a bit faster of a zombie, where like I wouldn't have been able to outrun him at normal walking pace. I had to actually deal with him or run from him. But notice because I didn't fire the gun, these other zombies aren't nearly as aware of me as they would be had I done that. That one's pretty wound up. I'm definitely going to have to take him out. But again, hopefully I can do that with ye old sledgehammer before his buddies catch on. Nice. Alright. I find like, especially when you're playing by yourself, sometimes just managing the zombies is the key to being successful, because if you just start popping off rounds, your gunfire is going to attract them in numbers that are not necessarily easy to deal with. So it definitely behooves you to be at least a little careful in your approach, if only to give yourself time to like loot these areas and see what's going on in them. Because like you're not going to have time to like look at all of these shelves for useful items and stuff if you're being chased by zombies through this area. So kind of taking your time and managing the aggro, I guess is a good way to put it, is kind of helpful. But that's kind of why I've always considered this like the thinking man's version of Left 4 Dead. Because whereas like that game's more just about,
I'll show you how I earned all those medals.
you know, kind of owning stuff constantly. This is more about like picking your shots and like picking the appropriate time to engage the enemies. Oh, nice. That was pretty nice. Or not even just the appropriate time, but the appropriate time and manner, I guess is how I would put it. That's kind of cool that. Now the only bad thing about the sledgehammer is it doesn't have the flashlight on it, but that's easily remedied. So it looks like, yeah, it looks like we've dealt with whatever was on this end, so we probably don't have to worry about any more coming from behind us now, which is good. I do want to turn that light off though, because that will attract those ones that are at the end of the hall there. So let's see if we can go ahead and check this other office out before we get any more friends. Now I'm closing that door and stuff, but bear in mind, if those zombies decide they want to come through that glass, they will. So like the door is more about like muffling the sound that I might make in here than it is about actually preventing them from coming in. Because they definitely, if they get wound up, they will bust right through that glass, which is again cool. Like there's a lot of little cool mechanical wrinkles in this game that I definitely appreciate. Oh, and also like in this newer version, I think it's cool. They've really stepped up their game on their texture work. Like you can really like see details in a lot of this stuff. And I kind of feel like it was always that way, but I just feel like there's more of it now. Oh, see, like there, almost missed that. I can't actually pick it up because I've got full items at the moment, but I can probably drop this key card now and grab that in its place. Why is that not picking up? Pick up. Oh boy. Ah, crud. Well, let me tell you about what's gonna happen here, zombie. He's making a lot of noise too, which I don't like. Because that could potentially attract more. Let's see if he knocks it off the hinges or if he just breaks through it. I probably could just go open the door, which would prevent him from continuing to make noise. But I'm kind of just curious to see how he ends up getting in here. Alright, so he takes it down. Ah, come on, buddy. Alright, so I took a bit more damage there than I would have liked. Which again is always risky. You know, if you're potentially getting infected. You know, if you've got infection turned off on the server, then you don't have to worry about taking damage so much. But if I do end up getting infected, then I'll be regretting this melee stuff. So I think I found a little bit of a bug here in that. Can I pick that back up? I guess I can. Maybe you can only have one melee weapon at a time now? But I mean, I have... Wait, drop that. Yeah, I have an open inventory slot. Maybe you can only have one two-handed weapon at a time. Let me see if I can drop this and pick this other one up. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so that it's not just the weight or the number of items anymore, it's also the type of item, apparently. So let's check this axe out. That's pretty good. Yeah. There's definitely a pause in between the swings. I think I like the sledgehammer better though. I think I'm gonna stick with that. It's a little more, considering that you have to pause in between swings anyway. I kind of feel like that's the better weapon. Now I did throw that key card. Hopefully I won't need it again because I can't actually spot where it landed. I thought I just threw it on the floor here, but it looks like it dorked out a little bit or took a weird bounce maybe. That's the one thing about a lot of this stuff being kind of physics based is sometimes if you're not careful where you throw something when you drop it, it'll end up in a weird spot and you'll have trouble like finding it again. Um, but I think based on past experience, I'm thinking that key card was only needed to get through that one door. But hopefully that's the case because I'm just not seeing it here for some reason. Oh well, whatever. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Let's check the phone and see what we're supposed to do next. Building is under lockdown. Your way. Need to find a way to end the lockdown. Okay. Alright. So the good news is we made all of that noise and no more zombies came. So that means this section is probably pretty clear. Let's just go ahead and keep checking out these offices. Was there an office door here that I missed? This seems like it is another one. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so what else do we got here? Oh, some stuff. I guess that's more bullets of some kind. It seems like they have added a few more weapon types than I remember there being in here. And of course they have their associated ammo. Okay, well, not too much, but good we got something. Okay, that door is not the door we're looking for. Alright, so we've definitely got some attention here, but not too much. Count 3 so far, but they're pretty spread out from each other, so let's see if we can give them the business.
Don't let my age fool you.
That's right, I can still put the smack down, even though I'm kind of a grandpa. Alright. Yeah, took a hit there.
You're not too old for some good old whipping.
Settle down there, buddy. Alright, so we got a gun here. That's always fun. Go, some decent ammo with it. Alright, actually that's ammo that I've probably been picking up, because usually the gun doesn't come with more than it can carry. So some of those little boxes must have been the ammo for this particular weapon. So it's good that I was picking those up. But just to show you how the unloading mechanic works, it's kind of neat. So like basically any weapon you're carrying, you can hit U, and it'll actually remove the ammo from it and then drop that weapon. So I still have all of the bullets for that type of rifle, and then you'll see like the weapon is red now, indicating that it doesn't have any ammo in it. So if I pick it up and reload, see, that's how that works, which is kind of cool. So now I've actually got 3 different guns, which is another good reason why I dropped the key card, so I could pick up another weapon type. Alright, so let's keep moving here. There's a hallway. Let's check this hallway and see. I think this is just bathrooms. Yeah, let's check these bathrooms before we move on out of here. Any boogeymen in these toilets? Nope. How's our guy looking? It's looking pretty good. Let's see. Okay, good. That was some ammo for our main pistol, so we can actually reload that now. And now we've got enough ammo that I would feel better about using that if I needed to. So that's cool. Always go to the bathroom. You never know what you'll find. Alright. Looking good. Yeah, they've done some good work on the animations, like, but you'll notice that that swing animation is not being reflected, like the powering up of the swing is not being reflected. So they definitely could do a little more work there if they wanted to, but notice like the weapon change is reflected, which is cool. That's actually more than I was expecting them to do. Um, I wonder if I just hit it, if it'll go. Yeah, yeah, it's kind of doing it. It's a little delayed, but still not bad. There's some little like detail polish things like that in this game that definitely it wouldn't hurt if they addressed them, but I also don't feel like they like, ruin the game or anything like that. Um, I think the only real like serious suggestion that I would have for them, based on what I've seen of this latest build, is the way that they handle zombies dealing with like waist high obstructions. I think could be improved significantly, because right now how it would basically happen is like, say a zombie were to come in this room after me and it would come across this table to get me, it would pop up onto the table, right? It would like just pop up onto it as if it had jumped up on top of it, and then it would pop back down whenever it got off the edge of the table. Or like say it was, same thing, like if it were to get up on this couch or whatever, it would kind of just pop up and down as it went up across items that it could traverse. What I think would be a lot cooler, and I know it would take more work from an animation standpoint, but I think it would really help enhance the game, is if when the zombies got to waist high obstacles, they kind of just fell over them or like spilled over them and kind of sprawled out onto the floor and then stood back up and kept coming after you. I think that would A, look wicked cool, and B, be way more realistic and like way more immersive if like the zombies just kind of, because like think about it, like if you were a zombie, right, like you wouldn't necessarily step over something or even like hop over it like a person would. You'd kind of just like run into your lower half of your body would run into it, and then your top heaviness would just spill over, and then you'd kind of spill over onto the ground, and then you'd get back up and keep going. So I think if they could do an animation like that and apply that to the way the zombies encounter waist-high obstructions, that would be awesome. Like that's the one kind of major thing I'd like to see in the zombie AI get taken care of or addressed, and I think that would be fantastic. And I'm sure we'll see an example of how zombies currently handle stuff like that, and you can see why I say that's an area that could use some improvement. Alright, so I'm thinking maybe here's like our lockdown kind of deal. Yeah. So this seems like, huh. Man, this is pretty crazy right here. So I can't interact with this. Yeah, I think this might not actually be what I'm looking for to end the lockdown. It's just so dramatic and so different from everything else I've come across. It's kind of making me think like it's more significant than it probably is. Hmm. But the other thing is, I uh, I don't know that I have any more rooms to interact with at this point. Check the phone real quick. Yeah, we're on lockdown. So let me try to find. That's not interactable. I've been trying to leave these doors open as I go into them to make sure that I have actually seen everything. I'm wondering if maybe I need to go back to the security desk and do something there. Oh, I hope I don't need that card to reopen that door. I don't think I do. Yeah, it's like it's opened already. Alright. Because that would be bad. Oop, how did I miss you? So let's see. None of these terminals are active. So that's not likely to be the issue. I mean, that one, like, glowing, pulsing thing in the corner of that office seems like something that should be relevant to this. But I don't get what I'm actually supposed to be doing here. Hmm. Yeah, let me try to get a better look at what that actually is. Hmm. I was kind of hoping to find like a switch or some kind of active terminal that I could interact with. This is definitely the closest to that I've seen, but still not entirely convinced that it's what I'm looking for. Let's kind of backtrack through some of these other offices, I guess, and just kind of recheck them. I feel like I've got the zombie situation pretty much under control here, so I should be able to move pretty freely through here. Just want to make sure I check all these computers and make sure none of them are actually interactable. Looking for switches, looking for buttons, looking for computers that I can do something with. Still hear zombies down that elevator. Oh, here we go. I missed this. I just heard like a gurgling noise from back there, which is why I freaked out a little bit. I'm like, what's happening? So this is cool, that I found another area to look in, but I don't think there's actually anything in here. Certainly no switch or anything that's going to help me end that lockdown. This seemed like a boss's office to me. So I would have thought maybe there'd be some kind of controls or something in here, because it seems like a little fancier than most of the other offices. Did I ever find that key card again? I mean, I'd have to drop a weapon at this point to pick it up, so I don't know that it's worth it, but I'd love to know where that thing bounced to when I tossed it. I thought I tossed it right over here. And I thought, oh, maybe it bounced off the wall or something, but it's gone to the ages. Oh well, hopefully I don't need it. If I do, that's going to be really embarrassing. But that'll be a good life lesson. Keep track of where you throw stuff so you can pick it back up later if you need it. There's this. Oh, you know what? I'm adult. I'm adult. I didn't even realize that was a ladder back there. All right, so that explains that situation, I think. I do hear zombies, so that's scary. But let's try to put fear aside. Get on up here. Oh, baby. Alright. Okay, so there's the elevator. So I can probably drop down into there and proceed through the level that way. Yeah, looks like what I'm going to need to do. I'm actually going to switch back to my melee weapon, because if there is a zombie right in the elevator here, it's going to be CQC time. Alright, good. I'm a little bit nervous about making a lot of noise here because there are several that I can see, but I think shooting these guys is going to be the way to go. So let's get ready to make these shots count. I'm sure that's going to attract more. I'm surprised that they're not just coming at me. But it is true, sometimes one bullet isn't quite enough for them to get a sense of where they should be going. So because I just took him in one shot there, I think I helped myself out. Oh, come on. See what I mean? Sometimes the headshot doesn't quite line up the way I feel like it should. Yeah, that's me. Come on, come to the light, Carol Ann. Let's go. Let's do this thing. Well, actually, it looks like I can step out here pretty safely. I was worried there might be ways to go off of that elevator where I could get like jacked from the side. But actually, this is a pretty good little kill zone we got going on here. Friend? Alright, so that was actually pretty easy. But that's the thing about this game, is you just never know. You never know when like the situation's gonna just jump off and get crazy on you. So it definitely pays to be at least somewhat conservative, especially when you're coming into an area you haven't been in before and you don't know the layout of the level. Like, it's it can be really dicey. Okay. So this room seems pretty uneventful for the most part. Not seeing any pickups or anything tasty. Oop, spoke too soon. worth it. Where this becomes really interesting is whenever you are playing with other people and you have to start thinking about like dividing ammo and dividing resources and like who should be using what weapon and who should be getting what ammo and all that sort of thing, because you know, you want everybody to be pretty much equally effective, because the zombies tend to scale with the number of players, so you want to make sure that everybody has the ability to defend themselves without like jeopardizing anyone else's safety, which can be kind of interesting. So there's a red light there. Caution. Not seeing anything real obvious to immediately interact with here. Like this is all power stuff. Let's see. Usually it'll say something that will indicate that there's an interactable item there. So I'm thinking that's more like just for flavor. Automatic sliding door is not automatic. Let me just see if I can interact with these things. Nope. Vent? Nope. Righty. I did notice some windows over here. So that takes me outside, at least in theory. Maybe I'm missing something. That's entirely possible. I wonder if I can bash out this vent with the thingy. Yep. Alright. That's not at all terrifying. Whew. Okay. That was cool. A little oddly silent when I fell down there, but still a really cool effect. I also appreciate seeing all the debris from that on the floor of the bathroom. It's kind of a nice touch. Okay. Oh boy. Hey buddy. Yeah? How you doing? That's cool. Oh yeah, that's the stuff right there. Let's go ahead and check this out. 'Cause nothing bad can happen in this darkened bathroom. Oop. A little bit of that. I think that can take the ammo out of it. It might already be full on shotgun ammo though. I've been picking up quite a bit of it. Okay. We're good. Yoga balls! We're saved. Okay, I remember this part of the level from a previous playthrough, so I have at least a vague idea where I am. Definitely did not take this path to get here last time, though. Anything on top of these lockers? Oh, there's something on that bench. More ammo. Never hurts. So dark. So dark and scary. Flashlight, save me. Save. There's definitely zombies, like on the other side of that wall. I can hear them. That's like a med kit. Okay, so my health is actually not terrible. I'm gonna actually leave that med kit there, and I will come back for it if I need it. But it's good to know that it's there. But that would be a good opportunity if I'd been playing with somebody and they'd gotten jacked up. That'd be a good opportunity to fix them up. Oh yeah, let's check out this shower area. Okay. Oop, what do we got here? What are you? You're like, huh. I kind of want to drop something just so I can see what that is. Here, I'll drop the sledgehammer for a hot second. Let's see, what is that? It's a pocket light. Oh, that's cool. It's like brighter than the flashlight. Like it casts further, but given that I'm already full, not particularly useful. I'll definitely go back to the old sledgehammer. Another cool like utility item though. And again, if you were in a group and you had somebody who was maybe out of ammo, you could have them be like a designated light person, I guess. You can see, no, it's a donut. I mean, donuts are awesome and delicious, but not exactly necessary. Alright, so this area of the level is kind of terrifying. So there's this big open multi-level kind of atrium, I guess you would call it, and there are usually zombies all throughout here. I'm actually gonna head up top side. Okay, so this is as high as I can go. Oh, hey buddy. How you doing? That's cool. Thank you for shopping at S-Mart. Let's kind of make our move here. Well, you can see how many Zeds are just wandering around this level. It's like anything I can do to limit the, oh crud. Well, fortunately he's kind of zoned out. Anything I can do to thin the herd sort of semi-silently. Okay, so here's an automatic door. So I think until we can get that lockdown taken care of, we're not going to be able to get out of this area. So we got to figure out where we need to go to accomplish that. Hey, buddy. I'm not going to front. I almost walked right past that zombie and didn't even see it there.
My ex-wife was more threatening than you.
See, I'm catching them while they're all basically unaware. If I were to fire that gun even once, though, like I'm actually really lucky to have found this melee weapon, because if I had fired my gun even once, all of those Zeds would be just tripping out, basically. Okay, so I think this upper level isn't quite where I'm looking to go. I need to keep going down a bit. I'm gonna have to find some kind of mechanism to shut that lockdown down so I can actually get through these doors and these barriers and such. So I believe that's where I came in from. So is there anything on this other side? I think as long as I can stay relatively quiet, I'm in good shape. I just have to be careful not to get into a situation where I have to fire the gun. I try to ninja this, I guess, for lack of a better term. Okay, so this is on lockdown as well. Yeah, until I can get these doors up. Oh, hey buddy. Until I can get those doors up, I'm gonna have to just kind of creep around here and sledgehammer these guys and try to figure out how to get through. Okay, let's go ahead and there's guys over there. Yeah, I feel like there's Zeds everywhere, so I guess it really doesn't matter which side I go down. But I'm guessing that down below somewhere is maybe like a server room or some kind of area that I can get into that's going to let me... Okay, I can't go down any further in these stairs. Okay. What up? Sledgehammer for the win. My big, my big worry actually is that something is going to happen that's going to make a bunch of noise, and I'm going to be like surrounded by these things. It looks like we got some down below there that may have spotted me. They may be aware of me, so I'll have to be at least a little bit careful when I go down there. But actually, knock on wood, doing pretty well, at least in terms of health and general well-being and such. Yeah, so it's... Hey, buddy. Good, that one was definitely more excitable than some of the other ones, so good to take him out quietly. See, you can hear how they're getting more and more wound up, like as they're making noises and more of them are becoming aware of me. They're getting a little more antsy. The more of these that I can take out before like they get whipped up into a frenzy, the better. Oh! Oh, hey buddy. Hey, how you doing? Alright, that was good. That was good. We took out a bunch of them there. But I'm still... Oh, bullets. Still gotta be careful. And you see like that one jacked me from behind. That could have gone a lot worse. That could have gone much worse. Oh man. Okay. Definitely gotta be careful here. Actually, screw that. I don't want them pounding on that door. Anything back here? Of course. Come on. Who wants some? Who wants some? Oh crap. Oh man. Oh, I'm stuck. Not good. This is not good. Ah, he got me. Daggone it. But that's what I mean about how it can go from being kind of sedate to being crazy real quick. And maybe I could have whipped out that AR faster and taken them out and handled that situation better, but I was trying not to make noise because I knew that was just going to bring everything into that little corridor. Like what I probably should have done was not gone so far in there into that hallway, and then I could have managed the ones that were following me in from the big room with the sledgehammer without aggroing more behind me. But I was trying to secure my backside, and then of course I run into the guy with the SWAT gear and the helmet and all that, so I couldn't just take him out with the sledge. I needed to bust out the AR, but I did it too late. I guess that was the one thing I could have done differently there, is as soon as I saw the SWAT guy coming towards me, I could have just pulled out the assault rifle and taken him down and just started dealing with the consequences of that. But yeah, hindsight and all that. And also, like, the way I was dealing with that situation would have been a lot different had I been dealing with a group of people doing that. Like, it's a lot different playing the game by yourself than it is playing it with other people, because like you're really vulnerable to getting attacked from behind and getting pinched into corners and stuff like that, and not having anybody to help you definitely makes it tough. So, uh, so I actually don't have any viewers at the moment, which is kind of a bummer, because I actually think people might enjoy seeing this game, but I think for now that's probably a good stream. I don't want to stream as much as I did yesterday. That was kind of excessive. It was like a 4.5 hour stream. Um, and given that I don't really have any viewers at the moment, I don't really see any reason to continue this. But that should give people a good idea of what this game's about, kind of the state that it's currently in, and whether or not it's something they'd be interested in playing. And maybe I'll export this VOD to YouTube or something like that and give people a chance to see it there. But for now, I think that's gonna do it for me. Maybe I'll give this another try next weekend. Maybe I can get some help for another attempt, and we can do it a little better. But until next time, Contagion.